with it.
Okay.
It will happen occasionally.
All right. Hello, everyone. We're here with Tooele City Mayor Debbie Winn tonight. We're just going to kind of chat about what's going on with Tooele. She's running for re-election, so we'll give her some space to stump that.
This is your second term, right?
This will be my second term.
Yeah.
If you win? Okay.
Yep. This is my fourth year.
Yeah, we're just going to chat. We got people slowly pouring in, so we'll chat. If you got any questions for her, feel free to ask them in the comments. Keep it polite as always, everything else. But yeah, so we started out offline talking about a green stripe in town, and I apologize because I always laid it at your feet, but then I learned later on that was a UTA design and structure thing. So
Jared loves that green stripe.
Well, my issue isn't the green stripe. It's that the green stripe doesn't have a start and a finish. And that's just my thing. Like UTA ride shares and things like that have a parking lot that's a starting point. And I think that's ideal. But the green stripe is not a negative. I don't know if I was comfortable hearing how much it costs, first of all, and where starting lead. But I just wanted to publicly say I have since recompense that I blamed you for it, and then I found out prior to us meeting, but I found out where it came from, and it's not. So everyone that's heard me say, I'd like to ask her about the green stripe, it doesn't matter if I ask her, she didn't do it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so go ahead and announce yourself. I've never met you before, and there may be people that are watching or may watch us in the future, don't know you. So introduce yourself, and then give us let's do a how's Tooele doing real quick.
I truly think that Tooele City is in a very, very good place. I do.
Mm-hmm.
We started 4 years ago almost 4 years ago when I took office, and serving on the city council 5 years previous to becoming the mayor. I knew that we were in a financial crunch big time. Previous to my administration, there was just a definite, we're not going to raise taxes. And we kept going in the hole. Every year, the auditors would say, we're spending more than we're bringing in, and something needs to be done. But I think a promise was made by an elected official that said, I'm not going to raise taxes. And so we knew coming in, myself and the council, that we were in a tough spot. And so we did a lot of meetings and public meetings, transparency, letting people understand how the budgets are done, where money comes from, and what we needed to do to repair that problem. And there was a huge tax increase, and it was something that very desperately needed to happen. And when you learn how property tax works, then you understand that every year you're supposed to pay about the same amount. So if your house value goes up, your taxes should go down, which for over 20 years they did. Mm-hmm. Your taxes went down with Tooele City for over 20 years. And the growth is what is supposed to increase your revenue. Mm-hmm. Well, that didn't happen. What people also don't really understand is that new homes being built, yes, they bring more tax dollars in, but the services that the city is required to provide to those residents cost more than what they pay in tax. So the only way you can get ahead is to bring in business, and that is where we will make more money. Sales taxes and other huge place where we revenue where we bring in funding. And for many years, the sales tax didn't go up very much. And so that's not a way to increase your revenue unless you get people to spend money. And, there was a recession in 2008, 9, mm-hmm. and nobody spent any money, and it was a hurt time. So the first year, 2018, and this is something else that I think that maybe the taxpayers don't understand, is the mayor doesn't raise your taxes. The mayor has no power to raise your taxes. The city council is who votes on what the budget will be and what that tax rate will be. The year that we raised the taxes, I made the recommendation after we had met for many, many, many meetings with the city council. It was a group effort. Even though they are the ones that vote on it, I signed that when it was finished to say, I believe that this is what we have to do. I also made a very concerted effort to reach out to our senior citizens at that time and let them know that there was help available and they could apply for a reduction of their property taxes. And I gave them all those instructions. I'm very close to our senior population, worked previously at the senior center. And since I've become elected, I have met with them every first Monday of the month, except during COVID. And because I couldn't during COVID, I wrote a message to them every month in their monthly newsletter. So love those guys.
That's actually, well, it's good you get the information out to them. And I think I've been saying this with schools for a long time. I think it's time we move into the electronic century, and I don't see any reason why. You've got Facebook, and maybe some of the older people won't want to get on there, but why you couldn't start a group where the seniors are in a neighborhood Facebook group.
Sure.
Dave runs our group. I don't know what the hell it is. But anyways, and then the mayor can pop in and talk to them, or a city councilman, or Meals on Wheels. Now, I have heard that our Meals on Wheels has been cut back. Is that still the case?
Well, to tell you the real truth, I do not know that. That is a county-wide program. The county is the one that has provided those meals for many years to the seniors. I'm not aware that their budget has been cut, but I do know that historically, Tooele County has said we will feed every senior. And if we don't receive all of the grant funding we need, we're going to subsidize it with another pot of money somewhere, whether it be general fund or something. But the county has always been very generous to take care of all of our seniors who need Meals on Wheels.
I see that truck driving around all the time.
Good.
So
well, I just heard they were. I think the Meals on Wheels for the senior citizens who don't have family that's close or anything like that, I think that is an extremely important contact point to just so that they have someone that checks in on them every day.
That is even a bigger purpose than feeding them that meal. It's to check on them, give them someone to talk to. Yes, that's a very important part.
I think that's
people.
Well, when we get old, I hope someone comes and checks on us.
I've already told the boy he's changing my diapers. He recognizes this fact. He denies it, but I think his nightmares prove that I am right. And he's just going to have to live with it. It's.
You might have to change mine too, because
hey, that's fine. I don't mind signing him up for that.
So as I got a little sidetracked there on the seniors and all of that, I do want the citizens to know that because of COVID and because of the situation, and we have watched
in a
closely,
little bit closer.
We've watched really close with what's happened. The last 3 years, the city council has voted to lower the tax rate 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
So financially, some will argue that was a bad idea. But because of COVID and the situation that we had, we just felt like that is what we had to do to make that work. And then I will let you know that last year, maybe it was because of the stimulus money that came in, but people bought a lot of things locally and our sales tax revenue increased. And that was a great benefit to the city.
And you push the local purchasing.
Shop local.
Right. You push that.
Come together, Tooele. Come together, shop local, live here, thrive here.
But I do have to ask, was the police station, was that a local contract, or did we do, because that was under your watch. Mm-hmm. Was that a local contract, or did we do the lowest bidder on that?
It was not a local contract. We did not have a local contractor that had the ability, nor did they bid on building the building. Mm-hmm. But this is something that we did when we, Big D is who constructed the police station.
Okay.
And before they put out to bid for any of their subcontractors, we submitted to them the names and all of the contact information for every local contractor that could have bid on that building. I was a little surprised at some that did not, that maybe we expected to, but maybe they had enough work to do that they didn't. But we made sure that that was one of the most important things that we did, was we want our local people that can do the work and supply the work to go into that building. And that building came in $500,000 under budget.
So what was the
Good.
total price? I mean, with grants and everything, what was the total cost of that? Because we talk about that a lot at work. Like one person will say this number, another person will say that number. Hearing it right from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
What was the grand total for that police station?
Well, so for 20 years, the city began purchasing homes when they became available on that property where the police station is currently. And so I don't know the cost of all of those homes. I don't have it with me. I knew it at one
So
time.
you're talking, you
I'm
don't
saying-
know the long term.
Yeah. I don't know what it cost to get all the
To acquire
property,
the property.
but I
Okay.
know that it was $8.5 million to construct the building that we built. It was, we were able to get a very, very low interest rate. It was called a CIB loan from the state. And like I say, very low interest rate. We were approved for a $9 million bond. And we immediately were able to pay $500 of it back because we came in $500,000 under budget.
That's good.
Yeah.
When you say low interest rate, what is a low interest rate for a city?
Yeah.
Now
What
you're
is
gonna
what
ask.
is
That
the
is-
bond interest?
That is an
I
interesting
mean,
question.
like,
it can't be firstborn children.
I need my
'cause
finance person
the
here with me.
government takes.
is
all
it
the
more
children.
than 1% or less than 1%?
I think it's more, but it's
Okay.
right close to 1-2%.
All
It's
right.
yeah, it's nothing. And the CIB loans, there are only certain counties, cities, municipalities, places in the state that can even apply for those loans. It has to do with minerals that are extracted within your county, and you have to you have to meet requirements to be eligible. Some of those are grants that the CIB, but we didn't qualify for the grant, but we at least qualified for the very low interest loan. So
Good.
quicker we can pay
Very
that off, the
interesting.
better.
So you got that constructed like right in time for all this COVID stuff
Yeah.
to occur and
Yeah.
property value to go up. I would imagine if the city were to say that is in, what it would be valued as today, I'm sure it would be well over 8 million.
I would assume so. Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the way the market's been the last little while, it's been pretty crazy anyway.
Right.
The fluctuations. And hopefully that continues to go. Everyone wants to see growth.
Yep.
Yeah. And I'm just checking comments real quick. So the next question I kind of wanted to touch on was when I was talking with Neil last week.
Mhm.
He mentioned that there are possibly like trade shows where communities go to look for commercial and maybe even light industrial to come in and open up to build that tax base. Has Tooele looked into that? Is that a possibility? Are we out there figuring out how to lure companies into one? I mean, that's how you enrich. I think economies are how you enrich communities, how you
It is.
save them.
It is.
We need a Costco eventually, I hope.
We
Well,
need
I
a
think
Costco.
We need
Yeah,
more
do.
industry. We need
We
more. We need more manufacturing, and we need to bring manufacturing to the
Right.
outskirts of the city because that's where real money gets made.
Yep.
And we've
Yep.
been relying on the depot to be the depot has been Tooele City's and Grantsville's kind of concrete floor
Yeah.
for
Right.
many years. And I think we need to look at making private businesses start
Right.
take that and you also throw competition towards some of the companies that some people may have some indigestion about and force those companies to to raise up to better standards also.
Right. So I listened to your talk that you did with Neil. Very interesting. I knew exactly what he was talking about. There's a convention that is held in Las Vegas, has been for many years.
Can I sign up to be the person that goes to that? I'll get nothing
ICSC.
done, I promise. I don't
ICSC.
gamble, but I drink.
It was called ICSC.
ICSC.
ICSC, International something of Shopping Centers, something. ICSC.
Sounds catchy.
So I will tell you that for many years, the city did attend either our economic development director or some of the city council, the mayor. Yes, we went to those several years. When I became a member of the city council, I went with them the first year. So it's huge. Big convention center. You walk around and you meet all kinds of businesses that say they want to locate somewhere, and you go there and you sell yourself of coming there. It was big. It was pretty impressive, but for the cost, I didn't really support the benefit of that, because I looked back in history and I can't find except there's a little disagreement on if we have ever gotten a business from there. And Dave McCall, who I served with on the city council for the 5 years, Dave says we did get Popeye's chicken from that, because every year he went there and talked to Popeye's chicken and said, please come. So they eventually came. So Dave believes, and he may be perfectly right, that he's the one that brought that one here, and they came, but there's no other business that came from there.
Does he go stand out front of the chicken house, hands on his hips?
I brought it,
chest puffed out. I would. I like Popeyes.
But I want to tell you something. As I came in as mayor, I felt there needed to be a change in economic development and the way we did economic development. It seemed like in the past that we were bringing not retail, and that wasn't the fault of the city. It's just that they won't come here because we're so close to Salt Lake. You know, they know we'll drive around the mountain. But industry, other businesses that may come in and may be able to do manufacturing or some kind of processing. It's been the history to get them to come here is to offer them incentives. A tax increment. Hey, you come here, you build this, you don't have to pay taxes for a certain amount of years. Yeah. In the beginning, that had to happen. That was the only way to get them here. But now things have changed. And as I came in as mayor, I made a change in our economic development and how we did that. And I did hire a new manager to be over it as the RDA, which is the redevelopment agency of Tooele. I am automatically, by state law, the executive director of that entity. And so I hired an economic development manager to help me out. He's been here just a year. In fact, September 14th is his anniversary date. As he was coming in, we were working with some companies to bring them here. And I will tell you, since we got Jared on board, we have kicked butt. I'm telling you, we have now brought in Geofortis has come. They're out on the industrial depot. Plastic Ingenuity, Trike. Have you heard of Trike? Do you guys know what Trike is?
The bike, the three-wheeled bike. No.
Trike is a medical cannabis growing facility that is out on the depot.
Yeah.
Trike.
Okay.
They're awesome. We have brought in and really. Most of this is located out on the Peterson Industrial Depot. And I'll have to tell you, the Peterson group, they are the ones that are bringing and notifying of these companies that are interested. And we work together to bring those companies here, and nobody has gotten a tax incentive. None. Well, they will come here because they know of the benefit of our community, and we're creating jobs. Carvana.
Oh yeah,
big parking lot.
We're getting a Carvana parking. Are we going to get one of the vending machines?
Now the Carvana, just so everyone knows, that's the one where you park in and it goes up like a Ferris wheel, and then is that what it is?
We're not getting the vending machine. Sorry, they put it in Lehigh. But what this is, it is 100-acre facility. You can drive out there and see how much asphalt that's out there, but at least they're a low water user, okay, because they've got asphalt and not grass. But they're going to park. Eventually, there will be 7,000 cars on that property. And what they do is they're one of the largest
cars for sale in the state. Well, okay.
They say there is. It's not the state. They sell these nationwide, and they are the largest used car. Yeah, one of the largest in the nation. And what they do is everything is online. You get online, you pick a car, there's the price. You tell them, they will bring it to your home. You don't have to go get it. They'll bring it to your home, and I believe it's like a 30-day trial period. Yeah, and then if you don't like it, they'll come get it.
And we're going to park all those cars here in Tooele.
And what they're going to do, it's out on the depot, but what they're going to do is this will be the facility where the semi trucks go out into the country. They pick up these cars. They offer, prices. Everything is done online. They pick up the cars, they bring it to the facility, they do whatever minor repairs to make it look sparkly and nice and new, and then they take pictures up and put them on the internet and they sell them.
And then when they sell them, a semi picks them up here.
Yep.
Probably drives them to a hub destination with 7 cars on one of them, and then they have probably guys. And I like private industry drawing in customers more than public, because not to be offensive to anyone, but private is always more efficient, more responsive than public. Always.
I agree.
Under any circumstance. So yeah, I like that. And Peterson, I mean, that's a good design. I don't know how that worked out. I have Googled many times what a ninegret is.
So ninegret corporation, company, the Ninegret organization, they own part of the depot, but they have a different mission than Peterson's do. The Ninegret side of the depot is they just want to sell their properties, make their profit, and move on. The Petersons are here to stay. They lease buildings. They will continue to run several different businesses out of there. The rail is very important. Mm-hmm. The rail is on the Peterson side. And so you'll know right now the demand for businesses that want the rail, mm-hmm. and Peterson are able to provide that service, and they are extending that service there on the depot. So the depot is a great asset to us, especially when it comes to rail. Savage Corporation, they are out at the depot. They have a transloading station. They are a great business to work with. And what they do is they'll bring things in by rail, bring things in by truck, and transload them from one to the other and deliver them. And there they go. And Savage is a worldwide company.
Yeah. Well,
they're awesome.
Yeah. Also, we've got, the rail repair when those box cars or hopper cars get damaged. Yep. I think that's anywhere in the region. I think they come here to our facility and get repaired there. Yep. And that's
right on the base.
Yep.
That's a huge thing.
It is. So we're providing jobs. And when we talk to these companies, we're one of the first things we ask is, how much water? How much water do you need? We want to make sure that they're low water users. We've had some companies come to us, food manufacturers. They need lots of water. We can't even look at them. We don't even look at them. But as the others come in, we ask about that, and then we also ask about their minimum wage and how many employees that they will have. And as I said before, that we have given no tax increment locally from our funds and our taxes. They haven't gotten anything, but some of them have qualified for state tax increment. So they have gotten some tax breaks from the state, but we have been able to not have to offer them anything financial wise with our local money, because they know what a great place this is and a great place to raise a family.
Well, and we have a lot of people
it's awesome
that want to improve employment. We have a lot of youth that are graduating high school this year that we'd like to provide jobs for, and that just, if we can keep them here and keep the wealth here and everything else, I think that's ideal.
Now did we once had an overstock out here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Did that come on your shift or leave on your shift?
Overstocks was out there before I came on as mayor, and I'm not sure if Overstock still has offices out at the sports racetrack. They used to have some kind of an offices out there, but I'm not aware of that. I'm not sure where Overstock is right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I know Overstock kind of made their start out here. The Overstock guy who started is a real interesting guy, real libertarian guy, which we're a libertarian podcast, so I really like what he's got going on. He kind of invented a market. Then the market outpaced him. I don't know how that happened. There's probably inside baseball on that, but he kind of was the start of all that.
Well, we love entrepreneurs. We have a small business development center here in Tooele that is inside the TATC TTC now, Tooele Technical College.
Oh, did it change?
Yeah. Well, it's not Tooele Applied Technology College. It's just Tooele Technical College now.
Because we don't just apply it. Sometimes we'll teach you something that can't be applied. Well,
that brings people to businesses here because they know they can be trained. And what's really unique about our technical college is a business will come in and say, I need to train my workers to run this type of machinery or to do this type of process. And the technical college will allow them to bring in their equipment, set up a class, and teach people how to use it. And then those become the employees. So great partnership. Utah State University, if you want to get a degree, you can go there and take some of your credits over from.
I think that's great that we
TTC.
brought a college extension out here. I like the idea of Blue Peak. I am a graduate of Tooele Valley High myself. I was not a very good child, and I like that they have actually improved it and made it so it involves adult ed and everything else.
It doesn't matter where you graduate. It matters that you graduate.
Yeah.
It matters that you become educated and you learn.
Mhm.
That's what's important.
Well, it was Tooele Valley. I don't know if I got educated. But,
You got educated.
He became experienced.
became experienced.
Seasoned.
But that was back when the school was out on the Army Depot back in the olden days.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, what am I out of school? Almost 30 years now.
I
in
got
2
you by
years.
I got you by about 15.
By about 15. All right. I have one question, and this was brought up to me by someone I interviewed that was running for city council. But what's the possibility? We have this water crunch everywhere. And I have made the commitment. I am going to start slowly. It's probably a 10-year process, but zero-scaping my yard. What's the possibility of getting our government buildings to move in that direction?
It takes money.
I
It
believe
does.
me. I know.
You know, because of the process. I think, first of all, I think we need to change some of our codes that we're requiring people to put in a certain amount of green space when we really would prefer to have a few more rocks and just a few bushes that have a drip system. We are working on that and we are trying. But as far as government buildings, and I've seen this like nationwide, and I believe like they do it in Arizona, is that they get rid of the grass that's not being used for a purpose, that's just there to look pretty. And they do these, park strips. Oh my gosh, park strips. If we didn't have any park strips, we estimate we'll save 1 million gallons of water a day if nobody watered their park strip. Can you imagine?
Yeah. The my park strip is going to be the first thing to go.
Yep.
And then the little spot out on the north side of the house will be the second.
Yep.
I'm gonna put in rocks, gravel. If I could afford it and find enough concrete, I would do concrete from fence to fence and paint it green and call it a day.
Yeah, that'd work too. That would work too. You know, we've made a few changes at the city hall. We have taken up some grass and put in some more sidewalk for two purposes. One is to save the water. One is to keep the sprinkler and the waters off the building. I don't know if you noticed how terrible the building looked for many years. The water
all the
marks.
hard water.
And it was awful. I mean, it really, and to me, it was, we have a responsibility to take care of our government buildings and be proud of what we have.
We do.
And our own properties. So I created a great way for people to be proud of where they live and to take care of their properties. And we created the Take Pride Tooele program. The first year I was in office, I was out cleaning up people's yards with them because I felt how important that it was for you to take pride in where you live. We still have a long way to go, but I'll tell you, we've come a long way. And I'm not sure if you saw our last ribbon cutting that we had, but we were able to, through our Communities That Care program, we were able to get a grant. We purchased an enclosed trailer. We filled it with yard equipment. We've got blowers and trimmers, and we've got wheelbarrows, gloves, bags, all the little hand tools to clean up an area. Anyone can use that trailer free of charge.
You hear that?
No excuses not to clean up your place.
Where do they come if they need to?
You can get online on our Parks Communities That Care page. You can
Is it
reserve
on
the
our
trailer, but
Facebook,
there
or?
is a couple rules. No charge. We'll bring it to you. We'll bring you a dump trailer to bag and throw everything in it, all the green waste, throw it in the trailer. We'll dump it. You don't pay anything for it. All we ask is a couple of things. One is we want a group of 8, 9 people at least, and we want it to be a neighborhood project because first of all, we want you to clean up the neighborhood. But second, this is the most important. We want you to get to know your neighbors. We want you to bond with them, understand who they are. And instead of calling the city and saying so-and-so won't clean up their property and they're lowering my property value, that we first go over and meet our neighbor and say, hey, what's going on? Could I help you? Do you need help?
We've had that conversation before. Yeah.
And you know what?
And
I
we're
know
reaching trying times. It's time.
you're
get
not
to know
always
your neighbors.
you're not always going to get somebody who says, oh yeah, come on in. You're going to get some that don't want to participate. We get that. But I'll tell you, a lot of times it's not just a physical disability. It could be just I'm feeling pretty bad about everything and I just don't have the motivation to go clean up my yard. But if somebody comes over and says, hey, break you some cookies today, and I'm going to get this trailer and we're going to come and clean everybody's park strip. Or today, I would love it if everybody would get the trailer and get the weed eaters and get rid of the weeds that are between the asphalt and the curb because they're tearing up the roads. But the weeds are 2-3 feet tall.
I just sprayed the weeds in between my road and my sidewalk today.
Thank you.
And yeah, I don't think most people really realize the forests that are growing in between the roads because they see it every day. But yeah, those things destroy our roads and they create potholes and I think it is our responsibility to take care of our part of the road. So
yeah, well, it
is by law.
Well, and be a responsible person. Just if you see an issue, get to it.
But not everyone can do it, and I do understand that. We've got senior population.
I want to,
come on, help each other.
Let's look at this on the internet because I've never heard of this program.
Is this on Facebook or
the trailer?
Yeah,
it's on our website, tooelecity.org.
All right, we're going there right now. I think that is a fantastic idea, Debbie. That is genius.
It is. Well, for a couple of years, I've really pushed to have a neighborhood program. We have Neighborhood Watch. Okay. We've had that for a long time, but I want it to go beyond Neighborhood Watch, where I believe if you go to the top, go back up to the top where our city departments, Communities That Care.
Okay.
Right there. Okay, I hope it's there. See, I haven't had to do a scroll down.
We're walking through, go to tooelecity.org. At the top, there's a.
Can you bring it up, Jared?
Okay, I don't see it there.
She's gonna get.
Okay,
with her.
see if it's in the Parks Department. It might be maybe that's where we reserve it. The parks. If you go up again to that top and find.
Share it real quick.
There you go. But our Parks Department. They have the software on their part of the website that you can reserve parks and stuff. It might be there.
Okay, so
I'm sorry that I don't know exactly where it's at.
TooeleCity.org.
Look in your newsletter. The link's in your newsletter.
Okay.
Parks and Recreation.
So
we're gonna find it.
Come on,
we'll dig around and find it and figure out park facility maintenance request.
No, but let me tell you about that. See that icon right there that says building maintenance? What you can do is if you are out and about in our city and you're driving by a park or you go to a park and they're out of toilet paper or somebody broke the door on the bathroom or somebody has put graffiti on something, you can go into our website there and you can get that little app and put it on your phone too, but you can go in and see where it says right there, you enter your name and phone. Well, tell us how to get a hold of you, but tell us what's wrong.
That's the demand
and immediately,
maintenance.
As soon as you do submit, that goes to our parks director and he gets somebody on it. Now, if it's in the middle of the night and it can wait till morning, then that's what we do. But we immediately, he will then get that on his phone and then he dispatches that to the appropriate Parks Department person to take care of it.
Generates a work order. I like that.
It has worked. So that way, when people go to the parks, the facilities are in good condition, and we know that something's broken and we get it fixed. How about the pickleball courts? Do you play pickleball?
I don't. I've heard
No.
about it. I've heard it's super fun, and one day I might try it out.
Now, I've got a friend named Callie Thurman. She loves the pickleball courts. She loves to talk about the pickleball.
They are so awesome. People used to think that it was like for old people. It's not. It's for anybody, families. We love it. And if you want to try pickleball, but you don't want to like go buy a paddle and stuff and go play, you can go to our library. If you're a Tooele City resident, you can get it for free, and you can get it free if you belong to the library. If you live outside the city, you got to pay for that. But if you live in the city,
you're going to get
you're
a
already
library
paying for it.
card outside.
Yeah,
the city.
it's the same thing. Yeah,
Costs what,
because
$5
the
or
taxpayers here in our city pay for the library, so that's
why
it
I
doesn't
like that
cost you.
we're using the library to.
You can go
expand.
check out a pickleball equipment, and then you can go up and play it. And then I'm just going to give you a disclaimer here. You're going to go up and play it, and you're going to love it so much. You're going to return that, and then you're going to go down to Big Five, and you're going to buy your own
You're going to buy
stuff.
pickleball.
And you're going to buy some good paddles so you can beat your buddy.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It's
I
awesome.
like it. I like it. Now,
It's good stuff. Go to just our homepage.
okay.
Maybe that's where we can find the trailer. Watch, it's going to pop up on our homepage. Okay, there's see at the top where we've got, nope, they're right there. There's an arrow over there. Click on that one. Oh, there it is.
There it
There
is, okay.
is the neighborhood
So it's right on the
clean up
front.
trailer. It's on the main
Click right.
page.
And
Sorry,
that's
guys.
not just a little. That's a real.
Oh.
Real trailer that's full of stuff. I was thinking, it'd
Oh,
be
it's a real trailer.
some Jed Clampett number with grandma rocking on the top.
It is so organized, and on the inside, everything has its place. There's places to hang it on the walls, so it's very organized. So whoever checks the trailer out is responsible to make sure everything goes back in it. So it will say we've got 4 weed eaters there. It's got, we've got 3 hedge trimmers, whatever. We've got 7 shovels that you can go in there and make sure everything gets put back in there.
And you guys will deliver it to the location.
We bring it to the location just because we don't want anybody else liability wise
Gotcha.
pulling it.
Yeah.
So
You
you
don't
tell
wanna
us,
scratch
you
that.
reserve this trailer. So you click on that, you reserve it, you tell us what you're using it for. Again, I want you to come and get it just for your yard.
Well, yeah, get with your neighbors. I mean, well,
But it is to
and
clean up
also
with the
Keep it
neighbors.
used. Let's definitely use this. This is
Yeah.
a fantastic asset.
Yeah.
that really
Clean
is,
up.
and that's something. I mean, even if you've got like an empty lot next door, and sometimes when places are up for sale, they're not always kept up.
Owner doesn't live here.
Yeah, owner doesn't live here. The guy selling it has 30 other houses he's selling.
Yeah.
You guys can let him know and say, hey, we're getting this trailer. We'll come over and knock this out. You and the 5 other neighbors around him.
Yep. Get to know your neighbors. Take pride in your neighborhood, and sometimes I know we have problems with our neighbors. Everybody does at some point, but I'll tell you, if you just reach out with a positive attitude and be part of the solution instead of part of the problem, it helps the city. We all want to take pride and love our community.
For those citizens that just don't want to follow the social standard for what we've set as appropriate for yards, we do have fire hazards and whatnot. Does the city proactively go out there and monitor and say, look, this guy just won't take care of this particular fire hazard of a yard? Are we issuing tickets? Are we watching for that? Are we actually being proactive, or are we just waiting for people to kind of complain about it?
We are doing both. Anytime somebody has an issue, they can report it to us anonymously, and of course, we immediately will send code enforcement out to see if it really is against the code. We have a fairly good code, but we don't go out and give tickets. What we do is we first give them a courtesy notice. We give them a certain amount of time. Usually it's 2 to 3 weeks to correct the problem. We have included in the notice what the code says and what their violation is. Sometimes we'll include pictures, but we give them a certain amount of time to clean it up. Then we'll go back and look at it again in that amount of time. If they have not cleaned it up, then they get like a citation. It's a notice that says, hey, you're now in violation. So again, we give them a couple more weeks to get it cleaned up. If they don't do that, then we do charge a fine for doing that. But the way that it works is you have so many days to get it cleaned up, and we only can go up to, I believe, $1,400. And then at that point, we've pretty much figured out that you're not going to do it. If we deem that it is a real hazard and a safety hazard, at that point, legally, we can go in and hire someone to abate the property. We hire somebody to go in and take care of whatever that problem is. We hate getting to that point, but it takes several weeks and a couple of months to get to that point. And then worst case scenario, if we do have to abate it and they haven't taken care of it, we will put a lien on their property. And when their property tax notice comes, that's when they need to pay it. But we don't send anything or put a lien on anything until I've seen it. I want to make sure that we've given them really every opportunity. We only have one code enforcement officer to take care of 18,000 homes. It's overwhelming. But our first priority is to take care of the ones that complain. And a lot of times we just need to be notified that there's a problem. And if it does deem to be a fire hazard, that is our fire chief's option, that if he says we're not waiting 2 weeks, this is a fire hazard, we're going to abate it today. We do have that authority, but it does take the fire chief's authority to do that.
And do we also address like junkyards, kind of like, we're putting vending machines and old fire trucks on the lawn and next to my house or something?
Sometimes people have what you think is junk, and to them it's not junk.
Mm-hmm.
That's really difficult, and we try to deal with it as best we can, but the code is specific as to what is legal and what is not. And that's why I send my professional, the code enforcement officer. She knows what the law is, and she will go out and determine if it's against the law or not, and against the code. And then she handles it. If there are cars parked illegally on the road or across the sidewalk, that's not code enforcement, that's police. Anything that's really a criminal offense is police, and the others are code enforcement.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the police can just go and ticket them right then and there. And if it becomes an issue, then they can force an contact, knock on the door and stuff. So, yeah.
And our police are, I will have to tell you, I just have the most complete faith and confidence in our police department. They're not out there to cause trouble for people. Their job is to protect, serve and protect. That's what they do. And when they see a car parked across a sidewalk, they will try to contact the owner and say, hey, it's a sidewalk. It's a place where people are supposed to walk. Kids are coming home from school. We've got disabled people in wheelchairs that need to use that sidewalk. We don't want them in the road, any of those people in the road. And so we just try to remind people, please don't park across the sidewalk. And that's not a permanent parking spot.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, Tooele City Police, I haven't seen any issues with it all, or
they have a tough job.
Yeah, well, they've been a decent police force. We don't have, and granted, we are a smaller city, so that helps out a lot.
Not small enough.
Well,
yeah.
Some people say
it's growing a little quicker than I would like it to.
I know, but we can't avoid it.
No,
we can't.
No,
I
we
think
can't.
we got to get ahead of
We
it
can't.
with bringing in the commerce to make to make us competitive. I would like to see us keep, set a goal. We want to keep 30% of graduates working on this side of the mountain, or and just keep that going.
And we want our kids to live here, and we want our grandkids to live here. We truly do. But if they can't work here, or they can't find a house to live here, which is really what is happening now, it is very difficult. And it's not just Tooele, it is the state. We know that we're short of housing.
It's the region.
And that whole issue, which has created a great economy for the state of Utah, has caused a housing shortage, and it has caused the property value of your home to skyrocket.
Yep.
Well, that's a good segue for the topic of the refugees coming in to Utah. I know before all this COVID stuff, Tom Tripp and some others reached out about bringing Syrian refugees, but now we're getting Afghan refugees. Do you have any involvement in trying to place refugees if they do come?
No, I have not been approached nor asked to participate in providing any housing. I will tell you right now, we don't have housing for who is already here. And so I have not been approached nor asked about that. No, I have not. Not for Tooele City.
Does the county, I know you've got like the housing assistance where they will allow someone to find an apartment or a house to rent, and then they'll subsidize to help them maintain that.
Tooele County Housing Authority.
Yeah, I don't know if the county has. I don't know what the plans are for that or how that looks, but on that note, we have seen over the last few years an influx of a few extra homeless than we've been used to, and then we've heard about the old elementary school that was going to be
resource center.
Yeah, made into a resource center with some limited housing, but also, is that still moving forward? Where are we at with that?
Yeah.
Are you a part of that?
As far as I know, and really it is still moving forward. And when the possibility came to at least Tooele City to see if we were interested, the property was sold to a nonprofit organization. Switch Point is the name of the organization, and what they did with their director that began that nonprofit, Carol Holloway, she started this same kind of a resource center in St. George. I went down with our city council members not too long ago to see the facility. I'd seen it online, but really we went to see it in person. And it is a resource center that is there to serve those. It is not just for the homeless, but it is for those who are in need of help. And they have strict rules that have to be followed, but they also have the resources available to help people with whatever their situation is. They put people to work. They have a thrift store, just like we do here in Tooele, and it generates income to help pay for the facility that they provide for those who are homeless, or it may be a temporary transitional housing type facility. But they do have the resources. People always say Tooele doesn't have anything. We do, and it is with the help of Tooele County that has made this possible. But the resource center is going through. They have secured over $12 million in funding to rehab the building. And as far as I'm aware, it is still all moving forward. I have heard nothing otherwise. I'm excited to have them rehab the building so that it looks presentable again.
Well, not just that, but it's not just a husk that sits there unused. That's real estate.
It's I feel like a city has the responsibility to take care of all of its residents. And that includes the ones that have $1 million homes to the ones that do not have a home. We have a social responsibility to take care of them. Now, taxpayer money, it's difficult to come by. So financially, I can't help. We haven't been able to help them financially, but there are grants out there. That's what they've secured with this $12 million to do that. They purchased the school from the school district to be able to rehab that and make it a place where people can go. They plan to have a daycare there. One of the problems of finding a job is now I got my job, but I can only afford my rent if I don't have to pay a babysitter. You can't afford it all. And so there will be a way that people can have their kids taken care of there. There will be a place for after school. We have a great after school program with our Boys and Girls Clubs. They take care of kids, but not all of them, and they can't handle all of them. So they will be able to have a place that kids can go for a little bit after school till their parents can come. So yes, there is a plan to use some of that facility for transitional housing, which means you come in, what's your problem? Let's go through it. Let's help you. These are the steps you need to take. And until you can get on your feet, you get to live here. And their plan was to have like a wing for women, a wing for men, and an area for families. And we just know that there is a need for that in our community. And yes, I have seen an increase in our homeless. I see them on the street.
Well, it's
the
not
police
just,
department knows them by name.
Yeah, it's not just ours. It's
everywhere.
It is everywhere. It is. It's flowing everywhere, and most of the. It's odd how homelessness seems to be. I'm not saying this to be derogatory, but transient. Our homeless seems to come from somewhere else, and maybe the homeless from Tooele has gone somewhere else, and then where they went, that it maybe it's
Right.
They want. If they're going to have that life, they want something new to see, maybe.
Yeah. Some choose to live that way.
Oh, they
but
do.
some don't.
Yeah, and
Some don't. They're in a position, and
we don't want to disparage
Yeah.
anyone for either of the circumstances. Every day I think about running away and becoming a vagabond every day. But, you know, it's,
Me too.
and I do like the idea of assisting them. And we've got to close this out and cut you
Okay.
loose. So I want to cover two more things. The first one is, and maybe it's just an idea to put in your head if it's not already there. We've got the bowling alley, which offers recreation for youth. We do need to bring in more. We got the skate parks. Those are great. I want to commend the city on that. Fantastic. The skate park, it's close to my house. I love taking my nephew over there and watching him, you know, fall. But, you know, I think we need to figure out more to capture the high school age and give them, because right now we've kind of got the middle school and maybe some elementary school. We've got some that mixes in through both of them, but I think we need to figure out how to get the high school kids some entertainment to do. We used to have the skating rink up there on 7th.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Let me tell you about that.
Well, I kind of witnessed some of it when I was younger.
There's a big change happening up there in the last couple of years. Teen Center, we call it the Teen Center, has been used primarily for many years by the Boys and Girls Club for the teens that belong to the Boys and Girls Club. But we found within the last couple of years that there are many other teen groups or even youth groups that don't have a place to meet, don't have anything to do. And so we decided that, you know, for that building to sit empty when the Boys and Girls Club is not using it, it's not good taxpayer dollar. You know, we're not using our taxpayer dollars correctly. So what we have done is we've just barely finished a new upgrade to the electrical system because it was outdated and basically illegal. We've had that all replaced. We're putting new heating and air in the building. We have money that we have set aside with our PAR tax money, our tax, the tax increment that really comes from Parks, Arts, and Recreation. And we're doing some additional upgrades in the building. We have now scheduled it where we have other youth groups using the building. And if you're interested in that, call the Parks Department if you've got a group that needs to meet and have some activities. So you go up and skate again. It needs to be open for all taxpayers when we can, and we coordinate that. We've also made several improvements to the Dow James building. That was also being used
Down
by the
over
Boys and
there.
Girls Club.
Yeah.
Yep, down by the rodeo grounds.
The rodeo grounds,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and so right now, gratefully this year in our budget, using PAR tax funds, the council approved for a new floor to be put in that building. That's going to be more of a sports type floor, but we're going to be able to use it for all kinds of events. We have just upgraded the kitchen, so it is now like a commercial type kitchen with the 3-compartment sink and a big fridge. Everything can be locked up. It's all stainless steel, so it's nice and clean and wonderful. So there have been some great improvements made to that building.
Sounds
also,
time just to get the word out.
more things for kids, more places for them to
Good.
go and do things. And I don't know if you know about our mayor's annual golf tournament. Do you golf? No golf?
I mean, I know where a golf course is.
We're
and
busy podcasting.
Okay,
It
that's
must
I
be
have a
nice.
set
That's
of
okay.
clubs. I don't know why I have a full set because I use a driver, a 7, and a putter. That's all that's all I need. But I have a full set for
I got it.
absolutely no
So
reason.
every year we hold the mayor's annual golf tournament, and what we have decided to do this year, usually we just choose a group and raise money for them. This year I said, you know what, we got to spread the wealth. And so this year we raised $14,600 after expenses. That's how much we had to give out as grants. We just committee met today to decide how to distribute those grants. But we put it out there and said, if you have a nonprofit youth group, apply for some money. And we're going to be now dividing it up. I think we had 14 different applicants, and we're going to take that money that are generous businesses, because that's where the money comes from. They're the ones that golf and pay their sponsorships in golf. That money now will go back into our community for all of these youth groups. It's a great way to raise money and promote businesses at the same time that we're helping our youth. So we hope that grows bigger and bigger every year. And next year, the golf tournament will be in May. So be watching for it.
Good.
You don't have to be a good golfer.
I might even show up and show you all how to golf.
Use
do
your
that.
driver.
Use my 7. It's all I really use is the 7. The rest of it's a waste. My driver goes that way, and then forget about.
We
the
have an
button.
awesome golf pro teach you if you want to do that too.
I feel bad for anyone who has to try to teach me that. So, all right. So we got about 10 minutes left. Let's run through some comments and
Okay.
see what the constituents have to say. Christy says I haven't watered for the last 2 years. And hopefully your yard is holding up well. I do know that planting trees helps, if you can plant some trees in your front yard and then they die and then you
You got to get them watered. Got to keep them watered.
Yeah. Kendra says neighborhood watch. That's how everything gets posted on Facebook's Tooele 411. That's the Facebook curse out your friends and neighbors page. Isn't that what it's called?
It can be used for very good purposes, and they're
I'm not
all
saying
these Facebook pages
what it can be used for.
Well, it's you could find good stuff if you look long enough. Okay.
I post our advertisings on
Yeah,
it, so there
I
must be
know.
good stuff there.
I know, but normally I see people start to get in an argument. There's a lot. Well, I shouldn't say it. There's probably more than that, but I can't read. Part of homeless problem is the housing. Not only are homes overly priced, but rent is outrageous. It's hard enough for 2 incomes to afford rent, but a single parent, with rents at $2,300 a month, new homes at $450,000 for a 3-bedroom. Yeah, not happening.
She's right.
Completely right.
She's completely right. And I don't know how people do it nowadays. I truly do not know how they do it.
I got a question. What can we do to encourage the traditional single family home to be built again? When was the last time you saw a 3-bedroom home with an under let's go simple, under a $1,200 or 1,200 square foot? When was the last time you saw that? I haven't seen that in 15 years.
Oh, they may be building some. I don't know. Well, I guess they really don't call them single family anymore.
They still call them single family, but they're 2,000 square foot at the minimum.
I just toured a development in our city that is building some very nice homes, larger square footage, over 2,000 square feet. But they're putting into these homes what they call an accessory dwelling unit. Tooele City allows for an accessory dwelling units to be either built inside the home or outside the home, a separate unit, as long as you're using the same water sewer.
Apartment.
Yeah, basement apartments and stuff. And that's how some families are affording these homes, is because they're renting out to either a family member or somebody different. But that's the only way they can make payments. I really truly don't know how these young kids do it. I have adult grandchildren, and how they can afford those rents, I don't know. It does take 3 and 4 kids living in single adults living in a house, because you can't do it in these apartments. I know. We hear from developers all the time. We're coming in and we're going to build affordable housing. My opinion, there is no such thing as affordable housing. Sorry. Might be attainable housing, but attainable by only a few. We're in a tough position, and this can't be solved within just the city. This is a statewide issue.
It's a nationwide issue.
Nationwide,
it involves the banking system. It involves the regulatory system. The cost to cut ground is so high that no one's going to build $100,000 house when you've got to lose 10 grand right off the bat.
Yep.
No bank is going to give you a loan that automatically takes a loss of 10%.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so we've got to figure out how to get that under control. And I think until we do that, we don't stand a chance.
Yep. You're right. It's tough. Very tough.
Right. We've got some more comments in here. Okay. Doug says we need a Target, Sam's, Costco, and a few others. I agree.
Yep. We agree.
We've got to bring business over here to bring people to bring business.
Yep. Yeah. They always say, you got to bring the people to bring the business. And some of these Target, for example, says they won't even look at you unless you're over 100,000 people.
Mhm.
Which we're
they're
not.
No.
And we don't want to
Next
be.
week.
We don't want to be
No.
yet. Yeah, maybe next week. And so I
That's-
know what we need. I want them to. And I will tell you, there is a development piece of property on 1000 North Main Street
Mhm.
around the Wendy's there. That
Mhm.
big. Tooele City owned that property at one time after a developer didn't work out with them. City bought it back. The RDA bought it. We have now sold it to another company who is working so hard with real estate. There's some special people in real estate that go out and they meet with these stores. So as we talked about the very beginning of going to Vegas for ICSC, we got people that just do that here locally. They reach out to these entities, and what happens is you can't get one without the other. So if you look on that sign down there on 1000 North Main, it says Ross is coming. Ross is coming. Ross wants to be here, but Ross won't come unless you get more tenants in the other buildings. Well, the developer that owns the property, he's not going to build a building unless he can make back at least the payment of that building and make some money. That's what he's in business for, is to make money. So coordinating all of those businesses to say, okay, I'll come and I'll sign and I'll pay this much rent. That's what's difficult. And the coordination of that is so, I don't know how it will finally happen, but I will tell you that I meet with those owners on a regular basis. They want this more than as much as we do. We are working on it. Every time we hear good news that, somebody's going to sign, somebody else drops off.
So the commitment.
So it's tough, but a lot of it is because we are not big enough, and they know that we're driving around that mountain.
Yeah, we're
ordering online.
We're in that tough slot.
Yeah,
I say right there, we need to build. Well, we've got the north side of town has some commercial on it.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a plastic place, some auto body and things like that. And we got the fish plant, the fish food plant.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting some things there. So that's a growth that'll blend an area between I don't know how the fish food plant will survive when Erda and Tooele touch, which is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not in my lifetime, but it's going to happen.
Oh, you bet it is. We know that.
Now, I do have to say, I've noticed some interesting things when new businesses come in. Let's say the Walmart's gas station.
Mm-hmm.
I can drive into it, but I can't drive out of it. And I know there was some disagreements and some bartering and some back and forth between the Walmarts and the city system, maybe.
No,
to get in and out.
That's not city. That main street is owned by the state. That is a state road. It is UDOT. And if you just look at where the entrance is, you can never put an exit onto Main Street there because it is not safe. It's too close to that line.
Not just that, but
it
it's
all
ingenious.
has to do with safety. Yeah. And anything that goes on Main Street is UDOT. And again, 1000 North, that's SR 112. That is also a state road.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's ingenious. Pull them in and then have them drive right in front of Walmart
and go in and get some stuff.
It may as well. But I'd like to see, I remember back in the olden days when we had local grocery stores. I would like to see something like that pop up. We got Solberg's, of course, in Grantsville and Stansbury. I would like to see a Solberg's open up here. Granted, they are more expensive on most things, but still I like to support and keep it local as much as I can.
Keep it local.
And we preach that a lot here.
Yep.
All right. Brian says, shop local, support local. Of course. Doug says, thanks for all you do for us.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks, Brian.
And Doug's going to be on shortly too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a good conversation. We'll see if anything else has come on here, but yeah, thank you for coming on.
Can I have a closing
Of
remark?
course.
Absolutely.
So I was born and raised here in Tooele City. This is my city that I have lived in all my life. I am married, been married for over 35 years. Kind of the second time around, I lost a first husband in a car accident. I have 5 children, all of whom are married, and I have 19 grandchildren. I love our community. I want it to be great for my family and for my friends. It is very important to me. I came into office. I ran for mayor and came into office with a few promises that I said I'm going to increase customer service, and I've done that. Every decision that I've made is what I think is best for this city. As I look back, I started making a list the other day of all the changes and the good things that have happened since I came. We survived a pandemic. We survived an earthquake. It has been very difficult in some aspects, but we have done very well. We are in a much better place financially. We still have a long ways to go and a lot of needs, but I have personally answered emails, texts, phone calls. I help people individually, as many as I can. Sometimes it is a little overwhelming, but I feel like I have given back to my community and I have received back blessings tenfold. So I love what I'm doing. I would love to serve another term to finish up some projects that I would like to get finished up. I am committed. I believe that everything that I have done has been in the best interest of our citizens. And I know I've made some people angry. And sometimes when you're the leader and you make a decision, you know that somebody's not going to like it. But at the end of the day, I believe that I have done what was right. And so I would love to be reelected. I'm asking for everyone's support. So appreciate it very much. And I appreciate this opportunity.
Oh, anytime. And
you guys are great.
So it wasn't as bad as you thought it would be, or what?
I was scared to death. I'm not
Really?
scared anymore. I'm calm.
There's not much to be scared unless I get on my political tirades, then be scared.
I'll come back and we'll talk about green lines on the road some more.
The green lines.
He goes deeper than that, but
no,
he doesn't have any blood pressure medicine.
The green lines are nothing compared to where I go off on. I go off on, I think the cost of government is why your houses are unaffordable.
Let me tell you just one little thing about contractors. I won't even tell you what project it was. When government puts out bidding for a contract, I believe that a lot of times the contractors go way overboard in what they give you bids for because they know it's government. Government has to pay it. And government pays it. Mm-hmm. They pay thousands of dollars.
And they don't liquidate when they fail.
No. And so I will tell you, just recently, we put a project out to bid and we had budgeted $600,000 for it. And a company, the first bid that was opened, sealed bids, we opened it up. It was $1.3 million. And my first thought was, I can't get that project done. We can't do that. Mm-hmm. We opened up a few more. One was like $900,000. One was $700,000. Do you know that the lowest bid was a local contractor for just over $500,000? We thought maybe that they had made a mistake and maybe had missed something on the bid. They went over it and they said, no, we're still making a profit. We're just not gouging you like the rest of them are.
Well,
so I am so proud of our local businesses. Good. Very much so.
Good. And that's the thing.
It makes a difference, but that's how governments get having to pay all of this money because people and also know the government will.
Not so much local government, maybe a little bit county, quite a bit state, but federal.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we don't want to talk about federal government.
But what they do is they they have a lot on their plate, and these bids come in and they open them up, and then they don't have time to follow. When they tore apart Main Street, they hurt some of our businesses, financially. They rolled the street up and then parked the cones there until September. And then a couple guys showed back up and hurry up and rushed out a road. That's what you commonly see. And that's because, and that was a state.
It was a state.
And then the state made some promises to the cities and the counties and then backed out of them.
Yeah.
And I've heard all about that. That's an enjoyable process to hear about. But that's because the state, it's not like they have the state doesn't say, okay, we want to see your bids. The state commonly doesn't have someone who has expertise in what's being bidded. And maybe that would be the way to go, as the state says, we want to hire you to be the state manager of this job. Mm-hmm. And you're going to manage everything under it. Maybe that's what, or maybe that would be gross negligence. I don't know. Believe me, I have evolved past caveman next year. I am an ape, but one of the things that's killing us is, well, my uncle built a small house that he rents out to the French teachers that come to teach in Grantsville. He's rented out to them consecutively for years. And the cost he had to pay to cut ground, to have him just look at his paperwork, was insane. And that's just to get him to cut ground. And then they charge you every step along the way. Ends up being what, 10 grand, 12 grand. You've got to roll into a home loan.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's developing a house and they know they cannot sell it because you've got to take a 10% loss at the bank, they're going to say, make the house bigger, because we'll eat a 5% at the bank, or more than likely a 2% at the bank. And that's where we've been going, and we've been moving that way. So we've got to let some freedom back into our country. We have to.
Not disagreeing with you there.
All right. I don't know how we do it. And most of that is not on a city level. Yeah. We understand that is majority of state level.
The higher you go, the less oxygen you breathe.
Copy that. All right. So coming up next, we've got an ad real quick for something going on soon. And then we're talking to one of our city councilmen. But everyone, thank Debbie Winn for coming on. And,
thank you for the opportunity. Reach out to me. Check out my website, debbiewinn.com. And my email address is also on that website too. Reach out to me. I'm always there.
That's how we get a hold of you. And thanks for coming on. And feel free anytime you need to get a message out as as a mayor, as a private citizen, whatever. We hope that over the next few years we can build to be a resource for the community, and we understand newspapers are dying. This is the way it's going. Hopefully we get out ahead of the ball. Neither of us are professionals, but
you do a good job, and bring me back and we'll talk for an hour about water and sewer.
I dig it.
All right.
I dig it. All right. I'm going to walk her out, and I'll have Dave walk her out.
Send that link to Doug, and we'll get Doug on to talk about the event that's coming.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Debbie.
You're awesome. Thank you. You did a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
First, I'm going to free up my beverage.
Yep, you made me feel very welcome and at ease, and I appreciate it.
Good.
Hope I didn't make
That's what we try to do. Oh,
Making people mad is what government does.
How are you going to be a mayor without?
Yeah, that
Can't satisfy everybody.
That is very true. So thanks a bunch. Nice to
Thank you.
And good luck with Tony, and I'll watch you later.
All right, everyone. Now you get to watch me drink beer and send an email real quick. But I don't know, Dave. I'll close the door. How'd you feel about it?
Me gusto mucho.
She
did a great job.
Yeah, she did.
She clarified a lot of things, and I think she left a segue back for another show, which is always good for us, because when we get to talk to our local leaders, I think that's the most productive conversations we could have, to be honest.
It is, and we all want to have a rapport with them for things that need to happen. We need that. All right. Did you send it to my other thing?
Well, I sent you his email address to your phone. Send him the link by email.
Okay. So
now
we'll get him on. Now I get, as people watch, I get to type in an email.
The technicalities aren't so entertaining, but
yeah,
it's like a behind the scenes kind of preview.
But yeah, so anyways, there's it's the barbecue joint at the TATC that we were just speaking about, and they've got a deal going on, and we want to plug what they've got going on.
So Doug is the owner and operator of Simply Bliss. It's a really good barbecue joint. Sometimes I just like to swing over there and grab some food, and it's over at the school. And
man, he
kicks butt. He does one heck of a brisket. And
Well, yeah. I personally like to get their BLT over there. It is very, very tasty. But we're sending him the link right now, so we will. Okay.
Yeah. So this event that they're having at Tooele Tech next weekend, I believe. No, I'm sorry, September 18th. September 18th. It's gonna be an event where you can show up. He'll give you the meat. You smoke it. You'll probably have to bring your own smoker, but yeah, they're giving you the meat. You smoke it, and there's going to be a competition.
Yeah, and it just regardless, if you've got an afternoon that you're off or you're cruising around town, you're feeling a hankering for some lunch, swing by there. It's good food. It's not a smokehouse. It's rather a fine establishment, but it's clean and everything else. Where you're used to a smokehouse, you're used to an old biker out back, but it's good food. So definitely go check it out. And all right,
here we go.
Doug right here.
Enter
Yep.
Doug.
Hey, Doug,
How
how
are
you doing?
Hey, so I just want to quickly say thanks for letting me come on. I just want to tell everybody about Tooele Tech Days that we're doing down here at the Tooele Technical College. I really appreciated Mayor Winn throwing a plug in for Tooele Tech. It's a freaking awesome school, flat out. Next weekend, we are having our scholarship fundraiser, and we're doing a smoke meats competition. There's going to be a car show. There's going to be loudest pipes, the biggest burnout. There's all kinds of things going on. If you're interested in the smoke meat competition, there's going to be some great prizes. Your meat is 100% free to you. There is no cost to do the event. This is kind of a pilot year. We want to see how it goes. But if you have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name's Doug. I am the fat kid with Simply Bliss. My number is 801-556-4234. Come on down and have fun. We're going to start. We have categories for brisket, pork butts, ribs, poultry. Briskets and pork butts would have to be picked up on Friday. And then if you bring a canopy and a zero gravity chair or something like that, you can sit here with your smoker all night and do it how they do it in real competitions. Do ribs, chicken, or turkey. You can start that Saturday. The judging will be at 5. We've got some pretty good prizes. So for those who want to enter.
Nice.
That's
and you
pretty
get
cool.
the strut, man.
You do. You get the
smoking
you
meat.
get the bragging rights.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So-
What was your phone number again? One more time.
801-556-4234.
And send me all the info, Doug. I'll just put it in the
Okay.
show notes. That way, if anyone has any questions, we can just throw it up there and they can click.
So
Okay.
we've got a car show. We've got a smoking meat competition. How is the meat going to be judged, and where do I sign up?
So we're doing a people's choice. I will send you the link of where to join. It's facebook.com/TooeleTech/events. So I will send all that information. It will be judged by the general public. You can come down and get a taste ticket, which gives you 6 different choices of taste, and then the general public will decide the winner, and it's going to be awesome. We've got several different categories, and also for those of you who have kids and want to, Simply Bliss is doing we're doing hot dogs and chips for $1.50 that day, and so and everything that we're doing benefits the scholarship fundraiser for Tooele Technical College. And anybody who knows Tooele Technical College, we love our students, we love the programs we have, and everything we do is we try to encourage higher education for for anybody who wants to come down, they've got some really kick butt programs down here. So
They do. And we need to actually reach out one day and make sure we get a representative on to kind of call out what resources they have for education.
Yes, we've really got some great people here at Tooele Tech. It's not just a school. It really isn't. From our top, our president, Paul Hacking, great man. I mean, there's just nothing but a strong family orientation here at Tooele Tech. I mean, Simply Bliss is so blessed to be here and be a part of this, a partnership with them. I mean, we love it. We love it. And we love this community. We love giving back. We love taking care of everybody we can. So come on down and support us. Seriously, it's really an awesome event. If you do call me and I do not answer, please send me a text. I am busier than a one-legged man in a butt kicking contest.
Yeah.
We'll go there. I won't go the other way.
Perfect. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, come on down. RVs are welcome as well.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, Doug.
Hey, thanks, Doug. And
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I like
Hopefully
the
we need to be
smoke
here.
meat competition.
And I'll text you
Okay.
when we do.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks,
All right,
guys.
buddy.
You have
Thank
a good
you.
night.
You too. Bye-bye.
I will go check at the door.
Okay, so we're gonna go check and see if the next customer is up. Oh, here he is. All right. So we're getting ready to talk to Tony Graf. We're going to spend a few minutes. Tooele City has made a decision, and he's going to come in and chat with us. Come on in.
What would you like me to say?
Just have a seat right there, and there's your mic. Put your headphones on and have a chat.
Looks like it's raining outside, I take it.
It was really nice, actually. I know you guys are beer drinkers. I'm not a beer drinker, but
Well, we got a water for you if you
I
want.
brought my favorite drink.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, those are good.
So what is that?
I'd be more than happy to try one.
I got some for you.
Cock
guys.
and bowl.
Oh, this is if you like ginger beer, this is where it's
Oh,
at.
really? All right.
All right, we're opening this. This is
Yeah, for sure.
Cock and Bull ginger beer. Okay, where's it made? Where's this sucker made? Regular cane sugar, so no corn syrup. Non-alcoholic.
It's probably not as cold as it should be, but
That's fine.
I wish I could find a location here.
it's kind of like a
I like to give plugs to these wonderful drinks, these unique little concoctions here. Caffeine free.
C&B Beverage Company,
it doesn't have a location.
Either way, it's a cock and bull.
Monticello, California.
All right.
Oh, it's a twist top.
Oh, is it?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, I wrecked it like I meant it. Anyway, so go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us about how long you've been on the city council and everything else, and then we'll dive into, kind of the subject matter.
Sure. So
Come
my-
right up close to it.
All right. So my name is Tony Graf. I'm on Tooele City Council. I've been on since January 1st, 2020. I guess what was notable about my election, I won by 3 votes.
Whoa.
So it was
Congratulations.
It was awesome. It was great.
I vote. Actually, I remember. I think I voted for you.
All right.
So I was one of those 3.
Every
Good.
single person who voted for me is part of those 3, because if they didn't vote, then I wouldn't have had to
Dave
vote.
is the third.
That's right. That's right. I'll give you that credit.
Good.
I love it. It's my first time in politics, and
So what's your history? What's your before politics?
so I start with Tooele. I've only been in
Come
Tooele
in
City
just a little.
for 6 years,
Uh-huh.
and before that, I lived in American Samoa. I was a prosecutor in the territory there, and
Really?
we moved back, and my wife's from Sandy, and so we wanted to come out here, find something a little bit more rural, and we love it. It's awesome,
Good. This has a bit of a bite to it.
isn't it?
Yes, it
I
does.
That ginger, it comes true. Get the chance, try ginger beer. You'd think you're drinking alcohol. but yeah, so no, that's great. That is great. So you were a prosecutor in American Samoa, and I have some friends from Samoa that grew up there, and some friends from Tonga that grew up there.
All right.
And I can sense a little bit of an accent in your voice, but not a strong one.
Well, I mean, I didn't grow up there. I grew up in California.
Okay.
I'm one of those who came to Utah about 25 years ago, but I attended law school at the University of Utah, my undergrad at the University of Utah in history. And from there, my first job was actually in Washington, D.C. as a special assistant United States attorney. And that was a fellowship I did. And then from there, I moved to rural Nevada, went from the D.C. area to a town of 600. And
Wow.
And my first case in that town was large animals at large. These cows broken into a cemetery and crapped over everything and knocked over headstones. And so that was a change. And then from there,
How was, walk me through this process. So was it judged, and what was the outcome of that case? Because
so it was funny because there's these photographs, the evidence, and the photographs are like of this cow in a cemetery, and there's a close up of the cow kind of staring at you, and then the brand of the cow, and then the broken headstones, and so it was damage to the cemetery by the property owner, and it was kind of like animal at large, but a very large animal causing damage. And so it's settled. It's not one that went to trial.
I just see it on Dateline, the cow face, and then
Right.
they put a red stamp of convicted over it.
Right. Coming to a burger near you, right? So yeah, so it did that. And then from Nevada, my wife and I decided, let's mix it up a little bit. And we did. We moved to American Samoa for a year and a half. And
how'd you like it there?
It was awesome.
I'll bet it's just beautiful.
did you eat any turtle?
I ate bat.
Really?
No turtle.
Lots of horse
Really?
too,
So-
I bet, right?
No, no horses.
No horse?
That's
Horses can't swim that far, but bats can fly that far. All right,
Yeah.
patient zero. So how was bat?
disgusting. It was a fruit bat, and it was awesome. I was part of a Boy Scout group, and so we went out, and they're like, hey, let's take down some bats, and so they took down some bats, and what they did was they threw it in the fire, cooked it, and then put it on my plate.
Then ate the charcoal underneath.
And
Tastes like guinea pig, right?
you could taste the fruit, but it wasn't that great. I don't recommend
I'll
it.
bet it was fairly stringy. I've heard rat meat is real stringy.
I just kind of
I've probably
through
eaten
the
rat. I've
bite.
been overseas a few times. I've probably eaten rat, but we don't have to talk about it openly.
It's all good. But no, it was good. And I have a photograph somewhere of me holding this bat and then taking a bite.
Were you smiling real big, Ozzy?
I was smiling big because I knew that this was a once in a lifetime thing, and I needed to get through it. So
Right.
No, that I think that's awesome. And there's nothing quite like eating native cuisine. Do they put a lot of pigs in the ground?
the umus, yeah, they covered it up with palm fronds and or if my memory serves me right, it might have been banana leaves. It's been a few years now, but delicious. Their pork is good. Their chicken is amazing. And so it was really cool. It was really cool to go someplace I've never been. And American Samoa is very unique because it's 98% native. So they have their own language. It's a dual language society. The courts were actually in 2 languages. And I was in the minority because I didn't speak Samoan. So really cool. I loved it.
So when you were there in the court, you were you a prosecutor for the state?
For the territory, yes.
For the territory?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And we met in the courthouse was an old territorial building built in like 1901. And it was just this really cool colonial courthouse. And they don't even have that. And it's just, there was a lot of history there. And what's so cool about Samoa was they ceded to the United States. They said, hey, we want to be part of you. Can we come? And sure enough, they're part of our territory. one of the most patriotic groups of people.
Oh yeah.
And they are, I love them. They're just
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
And good, decent people.
Yeah.
They're filling up the football teams like crazy these days, aren't they?
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you build them that big, they need a place to go. Wait till we teach them how to ice skate.
Very talented. They are very, very
They're-
talented sports wise.
They're powerful and athletic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now,
And-
Delta Airlines, where I worked, I threw bags there before COVID,
Uh-huh.
and probably about 50% of the employees throwing bags were Tongan.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing people, very family orientated,
Mm-hmm.
and the food they would bring in,
Mm-hmm.
it was
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, you got to love the island food. You do.
But
Yeah.
they could throw a bag. My gosh,
Well, you mean flick it?
I felt like a little princess over
Oh,
there.
dude, they are. But I like their temperament. Really, I think sets them aside from being so large, or maybe being that big gives them this temperament that is, calm and collected. Now, have you ever been out to Iasepa?
Yes, I actually have. We actually a couple of years ago, before COVID, attended their annual event.
Did you?
That was awesome.
Oh yeah,
That was. I wanted to wear my lava because when I was in Samoa, I got to wear a man skirt,
yeah.
Hawaiian shirt, beads, and sandals to court. It was.
Now you can wear
phenomenal.
that on the council, can't you?
You know, I'm tempted. I think it'd be awesome.
We'd probably get a little bit more spectator seating if that goes on. I'm
But
just
you
saying.
wouldn't see it though. That's the problem. You know, it's only.
We just got to know what's
Chest
happening.
up.
You can
All right,
stand up.
all right.
You can stand up. Do a curtsy around the thing.
Yeah.
You know, come on. No, I no, that is great. And Iasepa is an interesting place with
Mhm.
about the coolest history of anything. Well, Grantsville and Tooele, I don't know if you know a lot of the history. If you don't, I'll introduce you to a guy. But Grantsville and Tooele and just this county has some really interesting history, especially for as short as it's been settled.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's go on to what we have you in here for.
All right, bring it on.
I saw a post on Facebook says we are raising the kind of the base pay of our law enforcement officers here in the city. And I'm not opposed to it. I didn't bring you on here to argue with
Sure.
you about it. I think that we want to attract the best and then maintain the best. And so go ahead, break it down for the people.
Sure. So, let me start with the disclaimer, right? Because the lawyer in me has to say this. I don't speak for the city council. I don't speak for administration. My views are my own, but there is a public record of our last meeting, and it was a work meeting where we talked about pay discrepancy, and it's actually the second meeting we had. And right now, I think Salt Lake City is $27, $28 an hour for their officers, and we're a lot lower, 21, 22. And the problem is we're losing officers to these other agencies, because why wouldn't you go for $5, $6, $7 an
Or
hour?
the basic industry.
Right. And so administration brought that to us and said, hey, we see this as a problem. We want to be proactive. We've called it kind of a wage war. And it really has. This summer, Salt Lake City kind of set it off by saying we're going to give a substantial raise. I want to say 10 to 20% raise to their officers. And so it triggered this wage war throughout Salt Lake Valley, where Taylorsville is a brand new police agency. They started at a higher rate. And so we have all these agencies that are paying significantly higher than we are here. And our city was trying to be proactive and say, okay, how do we combat this to give our officers a reasonable increase to keep them here? Because if we lose them to another place, another agency, it's going to be a lot more expensive to train a new officer.
Train them. You end up with FTOs with 2 years on the job.
Well, we're
right.
constantly training people and never retaining them. We're spending more money in the long run, I think.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, we're spending more money and we're not getting the professionalism and the expertise that we would like out of them.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, weren't you in law enforcement for a bit?
Kind of something.
Okay.
sorta.
Okay. So essentially, that was the gist. That's what the city brought to us. and it happened over 2 meetings. And I want to give a shout out to the administration for doing the research, not simply saying, hey, you should raise it, but actually breaking it down why we should raise it, giving us numbers, comparing various rates of other agencies throughout the valley, the Salt Lake Valley, to make a good argument why this could be justified. And so it was an informed decision. We had the first meeting was an introduction. The second meeting was, here's the finalized kind of the report we have. And then the ball was in our court to take action. And we did. And it was a preliminary vote, which I believe is coming up on the agenda next Wednesday to be a formal vote.
Good. Well, I saw the post you put out. You actually had the numbers broke down in the post. This is overall how much it's going to cost the city, year by year and what it does. But how much does it cost to send a recruit to post?
Right.
That's something I think that should be added in. So when we lose someone, we've either got to shop around for someone else, find a city that's even humbler than us and steal from them. Mm-hmm. And then they've, eventually we'll be getting police officers outside of train stations when they stumble out,
Sure. And I think what's interesting, and you've touched on it, is FTOs. So,
that's a big one.
So when a guy or a girl gets out of the academy, they have to go on this required ride along. It's not really a ride along.
It's like driver's ed.
Kind of.
Tony, what is an FTO? Because our audience might
field
not know.
Training officer.
Okay.
So the new officer is paired up with a senior officer. And actually, it actually costs us more money because we're taking an officer who could be on the road and pairing it up with someone who's new, so that new person gets the experience, and that costs money because then you have to consider the pay of the FTO as kind of part of the training process. And so you're looking at 6-9 months down the road until you have an officer who actually can start serving our city. I mean, they serve our city by joining it, but actually spending a minute on the road can take 9 months. Yeah.
And it's not just that. When a recruit goes to post is going to teach them extremes. They're going to teach that a recruit will generally come out of post pretty amped up, because the post is preparing them for worst case.
Sure.
The FTO gauges that into what is needed for the community. Some communities need more vigilance, and some communities need more community service style policing, and the FTO dials that in. So you want an FTO with at least 5-7 years of service. You want them to be on the road for a while, to bend in some experiences and have that knowledge to read situations, to give this young officer a chance to enter his law enforcement career, which really honestly doesn't start till you're year 3, year 4 in, to enter that career in a space where, how many of those officers with George Floyd were less than 2 years on the job? I think it was 2 of them.
Yeah, they looked like they all were FNGs.
And those were guys, I think 2 of them were less than 2 years on the job. And those were guys that, that's because they came out of post with it's a basic training. It's comparable to the military basic training. And they came out of there with that mentality, and an FTO, which, what's his name? What was his name? Wasn't Sicknick, was it? No.
Chauvin?
Chauvin. That's actually what he was, wasn't he? An FTO, or the other guy was?
I couldn't.
But that's their job to dial them in. So we don't want to lose, especially FTOs. Those are the kind of the backbone. Those set the standards for the rest of the department. And those are the ones that get pilfered the most.
Right. Because other agencies can do the math. They know that we can either hire new or we can bring over experience. And so we were trying to be proactive on that. And again, I'm not in law enforcement. I don't pretend to understand all the intricacies for it, but I can understand the basic math and this public safety component, because that makes sense to me. And, I have a career that deals a little bit with that. And again, I'm not in law enforcement, but
are you still in the what do you call it? A lawyer for the courts, or?
So I'm a prosecutor for Salt Lake County.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I'm dressed up, I just finished.
So you
a jury
probably know
trial,
my
yeah.
cousin who's been on the show.
Who?
Brad Anderson.
Brad Anderson. The name's familiar.
Yeah.
I'm better with
His
faces.
wife's a prosecutor also for West Valley City.
Okay.
Rihanna Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the prosecutor and the defense attorney living together.
Yeah. That's it works out pretty well. But that being, in prosecution for the past 10 years of my life, I work with a lot of law enforcement, and having well-trained officers makes a huge difference, not just on the road, but like when they do a serious case, investigate a serious case, that experience comes through in their investigation, their interviews, good policing, and that's important.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I'm not at all opposed to raising their pay, at least to the equivalent of a median for the state.
Sure.
You know?
Well, if we're starting them out at $21, how can they even afford an apartment? I mean, the rent here in Tooele, first off, because we're having the same problem at the depot.
Mm-hmm.
People will come, they try the job out, and they realize, you know what, I can't end up stable because I can't afford the living in Tooele on the wage that we receive.
Yeah, it's a good thing the depot's spending everybody in the nation's money to train them. You can afford to lose them when everybody spreads that out.
Well, believe it or not, the depot does have to procure its own funds through the processes that it actually performs, like the pulling of the bullets and things like that. Blah 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 blah. Anyhow, so what is the proposed wage raise that we're talking about, Tony?
So it's what it is, and I wish I had the chart with me, because
I wish I'd have kept it and said, if I remember, it was what was it, 27.85 or something like that. It wasn't an exorbitant amount like we're going to pay him, $40 an hour. I think it was under 30.
I think it was under 27. I want to say in the 25 range, and
somewhere.
I hate guessing, but yeah, it wasn't. We're not topping out any agency. In fact, it's interesting because Salt Lake City has a provision in their police union that they have to do 1% higher than anyone else in the valley, which perpetuates this wage war. So what happens is you have one agency says, okay, you know what? We want our officers. Let's set the bar at 30.
That's a bad design to run with, because you're talking about the valley over there.
Right.
There's some rather wealthy areas of the valley, and if they get a crime streak, they might go insane on their police pay, and then Salt Lake takes a huge hit.
And it's true. And so one of the things that came out of that meeting is from the first meeting, I was like, wages are important. We've got to, like you mentioned, have a wage where people can live here.
Mm-hmm.
But the wage war itself is a lose-lose situation, because it's just going to perpetuate itself. Everyone's going to raise it. And that doesn't solve longevity, because an officer who's looking for the pay is going to leave. But what we're hoping is that we can have a compensation plan where we may not pay the highest, but we're going to try to offer other benefits that make them want to stay. And so I proposed a plan briefly where, and it's a proposal that we're looking at. It's not something that's there's more work to be done. But the proposal is if you retire with Tooele City Police with 20 years, I mean, if you served your last part of your career with us and retire, we'll purchase up to 3 years of your retirement. And so you would get the benefit.
So that could either give them 20 years towards retirement, or retire at 17 years.
Well, so they'd have to hit the 20-year mark.
Okay.
Because that's a state provision. You have to, and you have to retire. You can't say, well, I'll take your benefit and then I'll take off. Like the state, their retirement system says, if you buy your retirement back, and I think it's like $33,000 a year, you have to retire. You can't just go, well, never mind. You have to retire. So what our thought was, well, let's try to look for a benefit that encourages them to stay on top of the wages, because you have to do something different.
So then they retire with kind of the the retirement value of 23 years.
Exactly.
And that so to take that, whatever, say it's $30,000 a year, maybe bump it up to, $32,000 a year, it making a substantial difference. Yeah.
Right. And so, I was trying to think outside the box, like what can we do? Because simply raising wages in the long term is a lose-lose for the taxpayer, for everyone. And so we're never going to pay the highest, like you mentioned. There's other communities that have a bigger tax base. We can't compete.
No.
So in that case, a lot of the more seasoned officers would probably want to end their career here in Tooele.
Right, which would be ideal because
Yeah.
going back to the experience you're talking about,
That
those are the guys.
That might get
girls.
us to still, well, let's think about it a few ways. We got a Salt Lake City officer just down the street, right?
Mhm.
Let's say he hears about this and he starts thinking, oh, he's got 5 years in Salt Lake City. But he starts thinking, man, I like the tempo out there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a pay cut, but I like the tempo out there, Kids maybe get into high school, doesn't need daycare as much or something else. Wife wants to get a job. We might be pulling that guy. And I've talked to him a few times. He's a nice guy, very calm, knowledgeable. He'd be an asset to our force. He might start applying out here, looking out this way, here, Grantsville,
Right.
the county. And I think that's a good idea. And that definitely makes Tooele competitive.
Well, and there's the soft factor. I mean, I watch your guys' show a bit, and I pick up snippets, and it sounds like you're from Grantsville or you grew up in Grantsville.
Yep.
And I think that's the soft factor a lot of people don't know. Like they think Tooele, well, it's just way out there. But when people come out here, it's a pretty cool place. It's unique. It's kind of what like Salt Lake County was in certain areas, but it's not like that anymore.
Yeah.
And we still have a small town feel. And I think if you go into the Salt Lake Valley, you can't really have it when you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in Tooele City, we have that. I mean, we're edging toward 40, but we still have that small town feel. And that's why I love it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the soft factors that I would love for people outside who are in law enforcement to say, hey, you know what? Tooele would be a great place. I'd have to take a hit, maybe a little bit in my pay, but the quality of life.
Well, why is a Salt Lake officer living out here?
Because of pay right now.
Well, I mean, no, he's living out here
Right.
for that quality of life.
And that housing's a lot cheaper out here than it is in Salt Lake.
Not so much anymore.
You don't think so?
No,
Well,
not really. It's a little bit lower. Not as vast as a lot of people think. We're talking maybe 8 to 12% difference on average for comparable. But it's there's a safety value out here that's a lot higher.
Right.
There's a breathing space out here that's a lot higher. There's most of the houses for sale are newer, because that is one difference in Salt Lake. The newer houses are vastly bigger than the newer houses out here, even though we just talked about the new houses are still too big for what I would call civilized society. I mean, you want to have a starter home. You want to have those leap off homes, and those are disappearing. They're getting torn down and they're gone.
Right. Well, and that's the problem with when you talk about pricing and housing affordability, those entry level homes are not at entry level prices anymore.
Oh, no.
And here in Tooele, like I look at the prices now and I'm like, man, how are people doing it? And that's tough because, people talk about, well, I want my kids to move here, and nobody starting out can afford, at least in my view, the housing market right now, even in Tooele.
No, they cannot. Well, what's it going to be in 10 years? We keep going down this route. In 10 years, you're going to have to declare your grandkids' names at the bank because they're taking over that loan. That honestly.
Yeah, no, it's
right now, I mean, car loans for 7 years, 10 years, a 10-year car loan.
It's crazy.
How's your car look in 10 years? How's that going? How would you like making that last payment on
I'm on my third car in 10 years,
on
probably.
the piece of rust out
like,
front,
Oh, I've got a Toyota Camry, 100 and 90,000 miles.
Well,
So I,
because you bought Toyota.
well, right. And I like it. I like it.
Mhm.
And it lasts long, but you're right. Your point's well taken. 10 years, your car is going to need probably
A
replacing.
lot of maintenance.
And that's
A lot of
unfortunate.
maintenance.
So Tony, how do you like being on the council?
You know, it was a lot of what I thought it would be and a lot of what I didn't think it would be. I'm the only council member from my knowledge that didn't grow up here in Tooele.
Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome because my fellow council members have an understanding of this community that I don't. But I also bring a perspective
Yeah.
that is a little bit unique because
You might see a blind spot.
sure. And it's great. Like, you know, I always thought, you know, if you have a city council, it's going to be really, really aggressive. And I really like my fellow council members. I didn't really know any of them that well when I ran. And I like them. And, you know, we don't always agree. And and I think that's a good thing because if you have a council that agrees on everything, something may be wrong.
Yeah, you're getting screwed.
And so I like it, but we can disagree, but be respectful and still
Mhm.
hold our positions. And so that's what I really love about Tooele City and the city councils. We listen to each other. We don't always agree. Sometimes we get flustered, but we're always respectful. And I appreciate that of my fellow council members. And I'm not running this year, so I'm not saying that for any purpose other than it's true. And I appreciate that.
Good. I like it. I like it. So everyone, when's the vote? Next Wednesday?
It's going to be first week of November, right?
First week of November.
First Tuesday.
First Tuesday. It's on. I don't know when I should get involved.
And I'm sure it's probably going to pass. I bet you it's probably going to be unanimous.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the election. My bad.
No, the
police,
vote on
right,
the police.
next
I
Wednesday.
want to
Yes,
let
no, you're
everyone
right.
know if you want to go and attend it or whatever else. I think you should. You know, and I should take the steps when I can to go and attend these meetings and find out what's going on. But yeah, and I want to thank you for coming on the show.
Of course.
And another thing, I want to put this out to you and the fellow council members. If there's anything we can do to help you guys out, getting a message out, feel free to reach out.
Well, I want to give you guys props because when I ran for office in 2019, there was a lot of different groups that would host candidates to do debates and such. And this year it's been pretty silent. And so you guys have stepped up, invited candidates to come in. And I think that's a huge help.
Trying to, yeah.
And so I love it. I mean, you guys have had some interesting guests. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't, but I really loved how you stepped up and invite people. That is huge. So thank you.
Yeah, I think there's a huge niche for this here in Tooele. I mean, we do lack transparent news media that's
even the
live action journalism
the
type.
Bulletin is phasing out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the good thing about a podcast or something like that is how when you come in to talk, it's recorded. So
Right.
if I say something stupid, I do. It's commonplace. It's recorded. And, you know, when you rebut with something smart, that's recorded and everything else. But we're hoping we can become a resource for the county, you know, Grantsville and Erda and Tooele and Stockton and, you know, all of that. We need to branch into Wendover, but become a resource for them so that I feel like a lot of people have withdrawn from their maybe civic duty, and I'm guilty of this as well, but maybe that's not the right thing, but civic duty to, if you have a voice on something, to, you know, spend the 10 minutes and get involved and study it. And I'm hoping that we can offer a way that can be done and in this modern day and age.
And I think I hope this year somebody can do a debate for our candidates. We've got some really good candidates, Grantsville, Tooele mayor's race, really good people running. And I think more people need to hear about it. And sometimes you just want to listen and say, okay, well, I want to hear what they have to say. What's the difference between candidate A and candidate B?
Mm-hmm.
And your program provides that. And a debate would be great where people can listen to the people at the same time and go, okay, I like that. I don't like that. So,
and we can host the debate online. Whereas right now with COVID boiling up again, that might not be an attended thing, but we could do it online and we could,
I think it's great.
Plug it in. They could.
I've done debates before. I think I did one for county commissioner once, and it went really well, and people seem to enjoy it. So yeah, maybe that could be a future project that we set up. I really do definitely enjoy watching people argue out their ideas. I don't know why. It's just yum. I don't know. It's fun to watch.
Grantsville and Tooele are so rough to watch people argue because they agree on everything. So they argue this little minute.
Oh, interesting.
Well, really, I mean, it's let's face it. I don't think anyone running out here has any vastly drastic different ideas than anyone else running out here. They want to figure out how to protect the city. They want to figure out how to manage growth, water, everything else. So they got to argue where you put the comma in the sentence, not the sentence.
Well, they definitely have to differentiate themselves when they're on a debate.
Right.
So they're reaching out for, why am I different than this person?
Yeah.
And there is an entertainment factor.
I love a good debate. So thanks for giving us the idea. Me and Dave will
I hope
put
so.
our
I
heads
hope
together.
so. You guys, someone else. Because I love, like you, I'm an election nerd. Like election, that's like my Super Bowl. I will stay up till like 1 a.m. hitting refresh until all the numbers come in. And so I'm a nerd about that. So I'm kind of with you in debates.
Now you have an interesting family dynamic too.
Oh, absolutely.
So Amanda's your wife.
She is.
And you guys are in two different parties.
Absolutely.
And I know
so
Amanda can definitely throw out an argument.
Yes.
So out of curiosity, who wins usually the political debates in your family?
Well, honestly, we cancel each other out at election time.
So tell me, Amanda, your wife, is she on the city council, or is she just an opinionated?
She was the chair of a major party in town, and I'm on a different party, and we like the funny thing is, people who know us, and you have alluded to this well, they get a good laugh out of it, because once we start talking, I'm like, no, you're wrong, and she's like, no, you're wrong, and really, I think a couple elections ago, she just went to bed and didn't talk to me after the election because her candidate didn't win and mine did, and she wasn't happy. But we were fine the next day.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But it's fun because that's good for me, because I hate saying a politician, but as someone who's elected, we got some flicker there. It's good for me to be able to listen, and what better way than to do it at home all the time?
Well, from her perspective too, I mean, she's got to swim upstream all the time when she's hashing it out with you, so she becomes a stronger personality for her party as well.
Yeah, no, and I really respect that. I love that she is. And it goes to what I was going to say about debates. One of the differentiators for me on who I like voting for is the person who has the passion. Maybe they're not the smartest or the most polished, but man, when I see that passion, when somebody says, I care about this community and I can feel it, that resonates. And she's like that with politics. She'll tell me something that I don't agree with, but her passion behind it, I go, props to you.
Makes you think.
And it makes me think. And I've had some of my thoughts turned around. Like, you know what? That's a good point. And I disagree with you still, but I respect you because you stand behind what you believe.
Maybe I've got our first debate lined up.
Is she still the chair?
No, she's not. I think she's like the second vice chair. But she likes to be involved.
But she's involved. Okay,
she's involved. And that's what I love is people on the grassroots level, like you were talking about, to encourage a civic commitment. And she does. She's like, how can we get more people out? And I love it. So even if they're not voting for people I like, I don't care. I want people to vote. And
to show up and say, okay, as a city council, this stuff is spicy.
It gets you sweating.
Yeah. As a city councilman, if you show up and there's a vote ahead of you and there's 3 people sitting there, that vote feels rather inconsequential.
It could.
But if you show up and it is packed and people are hanging on, wanting to know what their future looks like, that's where, I mean, pause is taken.
Yeah.
You know, this impacts the community big. Like let's say tomorrow you were going to vote on, are we going to plant those trees with the red leaves or the trees with the green leaves? Who cares? You know, but a vote on, you know, something consequential. Are we going to build this, do that? You know, that's where, you know, we need people to show up. And when people show up, that's honestly, representative government is designed to be that way.
Right.
Representative government isn't that you vote someone and they make all the decisions for you and then party's over. Representative government is you elect someone and then you show up and you keep talking to them and steering them.
Exactly.
And all they are is just a single mouthpiece so that, you know, there's not a drone of noise.
And it's what you said is so true. I wish more people came out. And it's kind of cliche to say this, but the most important political decisions are the local decisions.
Yep.
And people think, well, my state senator or my congressman, and they're important. Don't get me wrong. But if you want to look at your tax bill.
Okay. State senator. You said Congress. I think Epstein Island is empty now. We have a place we can move them. I personally would be okay with Gitmo. I mean, you know, Gitmo.
I didn't make the connection.
It's all tropical.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I really like that. And I wish more people come out. And I want people to know, and people sometimes ask me, does that matter? And truthfully, it does. I've had my mind change when I'm sitting up there, not because I didn't do my research, but because I am so on the line. Like I could go this way or that way. And hearing from people, to me, that makes a difference. I'm not saying all my votes are going to be changed on the night of, but I've had my votes changed because somebody brought out a perspective I didn't see.
Yeah.
And I weighed it in the totality. I'm like, you know, I'm going to go this direction. I'm going to go with the red leaves because that's a compelling argument I didn't consider.
Because, you know, well, there's also another thing. Let's say you walked in. Let's say the vote on either side didn't make a drastic swing, but you leaned one way. And everybody in your district said, we want the other way. You were designated to represent them, and that is what they want.
Right.
Your whole neighborhood, your whole street, your whole subdivision might want a certain way. And that's when, as a person in a Republican style government, you become that representative of the public.
But the problem, and this is my one thing about politics, because, you know, I don't have any opinions, but I think there needs to be more transparency because your community doesn't know what you're doing because a lot of people don't talk about it. And that frustrates me.
But I don't think you guys aren't being transparent here in Tooele.
Well, you guys videotape your meetings, don't you?
No, you're right. So let me rephrase that. I think as individual elected officials, we need to be more vocal about what we do.
No, that's not a lack of transparency.
Right.
That's a lack of, okay, let's call it what it is. That's boomers when there's technology available.
Yeah, I mean, if you're pursuing like Facebook, but you have
it's not just Facebook, but technology available. You could, as a councilman, say, "Do you want to know what's going on my board and in my mind? I'm starting a mailing list. Once a week. I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to have like a 1-page on, as a city councilman, this is what is on my mind and on my plate, and I'll send it out to my mailing list. If you want to be on that, please. It's email. It's free.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
It's free for me. You know, you can do it on Facebook. You could do it through email. You could, you know, and it's free.
And I guess my point is, and you made a good distinction. It's not transparency because, Dave, you're right. It's we do have it broadcast.
I think you guys do a great job with your transparency. To be honest with you,
I got no complaints with. I may not agree with Tooele City all the time. But I've got no complaints with how you guys have operated. You know, we had coming butt to heads with one of the county councilmen at one time over the start of COVID and whatever else. Nice guy. I think that he handled his side incorrectly. I think the other side handled their side incorrectly. I don't think either of them had ill will at the time they did it. I think it was just knee-jerk decisions made by a political situation.
Sure. And so I guess my point I was trying to say, and transparency wasn't the right word, is that as an elected official, you can't take your office for granted. And you have to communicate to the people who you elected you, not just on an election year, but every year. Because, like, you know, a lot of people say, hey, are you going to run again? And my answer is, I don't know. Because the question is, do I deserve to be on the ballot? And I'm going to be my own worst critic. If I'm not doing a good job, then why would I put my name out there?
It's a commitment. I mean, my God, you work a job, you have a family, and you got to balance all this. Plus, like you said, you got to get out there and reach out for the community and pull them into the subject matter, get them involved. That is a full-time hobby right there. I mean, yeah, it's a lot. I would hesitate to do what you're doing, Tony, because I don't know if I would be able to make the commitment when it comes to forking over all that time. And
I'm going to sign Patricia up to run.
And I wish more people would run, not in any election you want, just because sometimes we have uncontested races, and I don't understand that.
Yeah. Well, and it is, a lot of people has turned away from a lot of civic duty over the last couple decades.
Yeah.
But believe me, if Patricia was in there, that room would be packed every night. They'd want to see what she does. They want to see the firebrand. I hope she's watching right now.
She is.
Good.
That's awesome.
She's telling me get home for dinner when you're done.
Yeah, she's yelling at him right now.
Yeah.
His ears are burning.
Well, I don't want to keep you from dinner then.
But no, she's a wonderful lady, but she is a tough lady.
Well, that's awesome.
She is. I would like to see her do it. But no, maybe you and the other council members could chat and say, hey, how could we as a group, because obviously you represent a district or an area.
We're at large. So
is it at
Tooele
large?
City, we represent the whole city. You're the county council, you're right. They are districts. So
okay, see, that tells you how much I know. I've been
okay.
Still, the one district is part of the city, and the city as a whole. I mean, it's like a body organism. You can't really function without your left side or your right side.
I like that you did that Facebook reach out. I like that, and continuing to do that would be great. But I don't know, what could we do to help you guys become more visible and more interaction?
Well, I think this, like tonight, is exactly like, I was kind of excited to come on your guys' show. I like your personalities are fun. You put on interesting guests, and I like that you're like, you know what? I know this is Tooele City. Why not put on a local person? And you do it for a lot of people. And I think that's cool. I think putting a face behind a name, people start caring more. They're like, okay, so I see Tony Graf, but now I see him and I don't like him, or I do like him. And that's good. Whether you like me or not,
if
want
someone
you to
doesn't
know who
like
I am.
you from you coming on this show, those guys are kicking puppies down the street. I guarantee it. You're a friendly guy. You're a nice guy.
But I would rather have someone vote against me because they know who I am than vote for me because they have no idea who I am. And that's why I like what you guys are doing. And I think that's what's needed in politics, not just standing there, kissing babies and taking pictures, but actually trying to contribute and talk about why that person cares about the community. And I think you guys are a great platform for people to do that in election years and non-election years.
And we do ask the hard questions, and we chase down the candidates, and sometimes they do run away from us. but you want to know what? I think our local candidates deserve to have their face online and talk about the intricate details of their job and their lives so that we have knowledge about them. And that's hard to get with local politics. And that is the goal of the show eventually, to try to help promote local politics and show the people our local politicians and all get to know each other as a community. I think that's awesome.
And if you get to know them all, like my fellow council members, they're all fascinating. I mean, Justin probably is the youngest city councilman ever elected in Tooele. I could be wrong, but man, I was like, man, I wish I had that drive when I was his age. And then you look at Melody, her background's fascinating. And Ed, he can fix anything. I mean, they all have these talents collectively that is really kind of cool to see. We all have such different backgrounds that our discussions are interesting because we each have something like, well, here's my perspective. And everyone's like, oh, I didn't think about that. So I love that. And I think if we could highlight that, people would be like, I think people would reach out to them more because they're like, oh, I know who this person is. They're not just somebody on email. I met them once, or I heard them talk on your show. I want to reach out to them because I think they'll listen.
Well, and I definitely plan on having every one of you in here.
That's awesome.
I want to, you know, before the year is out, have every one of every council member, every, you know, all the mayors, and I want to have everyone in here. Just sit down and say, you know, here's my idea. You came in and you give a good and to the point idea of you know, what the community could use, a gap.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
That's awesome. Well,
so let me throw out a question to you, Tony.
Sure.
So let's say the mask mandate question was a city thing and the city council has to vote on that. How would you have voted?
You know, that's an interesting question because going to your point, Jared, about representation. Sometimes I have to weigh what I think versus who do I represent. And it's a tough call.
Yeah.
Because some of my votes, I didn't vote for what I wanted. I voted for what I thought the community needed. And it conflicts. And that's tough. The mask mandate, I have a strong opinion on that. But then I also have to weigh who am I representing and what do they want? And unfortunately, and it's kind of the legal answer of it depends, but I need to find out what people want. And it's an important vote. I need to reach out. And that's why I do post sometimes trying to get feedback. And I got a lot of good feedback. People messaging me, police officers from other agencies messaging me about the police.
They're like, oh, yeah.
Well, and it's awesome.
Ready to come over to live on the other side of the mountain.
Right. And but to go to your point, that's something that I have to do my job, put in those extra hours you're talking about, because I don't want to just vote what I think. I want to vote on what's best for the community and get some community input, not just say, I think this is what the community wants, but try to be proactive to find out what the community wants, not call 3 of my best friends and say, okay, I've got the opinion of the city, but get out there and do it. And, you know, I've posted sometimes and I've been attacked online, but, you know, I ran for office. And so that's part of it. And I want that. I want people to say, you know what, you're the biggest idiot because this idea is stupid. And here's why. I want to know that because that helps me in my decision making. I can't simply say, well, I'm just going to do that because I'm not representing anyone except myself.
It's a tough one. And also the county had that vote the other night where they were going to mandate it. I think too often we have mandate votes come down that don't have on there, this is the punishment or the fine involved with that. And kind of a little impact statement of that. So they mandated, I want to have Tripp in here. You know, I'm not calling them out, but I want to say, what was the punishment if that mandate come down? Where do the lines fall? That's like, all right, we'll go with Biden's dictatorial comments last night. Who is exempt from those laws he put down?
I've been in a jury trial this whole week. I haven't even watched the news. My wife told me about the speech, and I'm yet to watch it. I want to watch it tonight.
Why did he exempted the United States Postal Service?
He did.
Yes.
No kidding.
Why did he exempt that?
That's a great question.
Why
Fill
did
me
he,
in.
Why did I don't know, but why did he throw? Honestly, if you throw that on companies, say we have a 7% employee loss nationwide, what does that look like for an economy, a national economy? But he exempts the one monopoly that touches the free market that the government has.
Interesting.
Why did he do that?
Well, call Call your little.
We'll have Biden on the show next
just
week.
call-
I would love that. I would sound clip the living hell out of that.
No, that's funny. And those are good questions. Like, and there are some polarizing things that I think the county gets more than we do.
Oh yeah.
The mask mandate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But
I was just asking your opinion. Like, how would you have voted personally? Not without doing research. Your moral instinct.
Sure.
How would it have laid out? Because I don't want to let you go without an
No,
answer.
no, you got to get the good one. So I've got 3 kids. My oldest is 7, and my biggest argument is, I believe in freedom of choice. That you shouldn't be forced. Nothing should be forced upon you reasonably. There's things like you don't get to go around and shoot your gun at people because that's your right. That's not okay. But for me,
well, you're taking away someone else's choice.
right? So there's a line, and it's tricky to find that line. But for me, with 3 kids, all under the age of 12, they don't have a lot of options. And if I want to use the public school system, there's other kids who don't have the option of getting the vaccine. And I know a lot of people have debate about the vaccines, and that's fine. I respect both sides because there's some arguments on both sides, like everything else. But for me, anything I can do to protect my kids, that's me being a dad saying, I want to. And so for me, it's a selfish statement. And that's why I have to be careful. I can't let my personal thing override that.
Some people argue the other side of that too.
Yeah, no, you're
The
absolutely
damage
right.
that making the lower half of the face invisible and heightening the fear does long-term on children, puts them in a long-term fight or flight sense, changes the chemicals in their brain. The CDC actually came out and said you shouldn't mask children until, 2 weeks ago, when finally the teachers union bullied them into it. The CDC was saying don't do it.
And see, the
For years.
The problem is I look at my own kids and look at their reactions. And sometimes I think, well, that's how the rest of the world is. And so that's why I have to be careful. I have to look at it and get that views, because under my point of view, I'm selfish. I want to do everything I can. And sometimes I lose my perspective because all I see is my kids.
Yep.
And I can't legislate like that. I have to legislate by being a representative, not just representing me.
That's a tough one. That's one where it almost be, oh man, how do you try to achieve that? In ancient Rome, that was called the college, where the college, that was your city council and all that stuff. And they would try to have gatherings every week, but they lived in an agora, and that was made possible. But how do you achieve that nowadays?
And that's tough. And I think one of the biggest roadblocks is communication. As a country, we stopped talking to each other. We stopped able to have a disagreement without me storming out of the room and you cussing me out as I leave. And that's unfortunate, because you can't have change without communication.
Yeah.
And if you can't communicate, you're not even going to get there. And so I think that's one of the problems. As a country, we don't know how to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
We're either on one side or the other. And if you're on this side, so help you, you're an idiot, or the other person.
We've been polarized to the point where it feels like, 1848.
Oh, 48.
Yeah.
I don't remember it back then, though. Jared, tell me.
You don't.
Tell me how it was.
Isn't that the Texas?
No, that's the Civil War.
48. No,
Yeah, it was
61, my friend.
That's what I'm saying. The 1848, prior to the Civil War.
Oh,
the ramp
antebellum.
up.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. I'm sorry.
The build up.
I thought you were saying the Civil War started in 48.
No.
And the history major inside of me cringed.
No,
you're
it feels like
that was
the
pretty
buildup.
impressive, though, Tony.
I don't know about that, but
It feels like the buildup, like when you read about, the Whigs going against the Democrats.
How they used to beat each other in the
with the
Congress rooms.
Sumter got
Yeah.
beaten
Yep.
with the stick.
beaten with the cane. He
And
didn't show back up to Congress for, what was it, 2 years?
Would you?
No.
Right.
Well, he had his buddies out looking for him, I
Right.
think.
It got violent.
Mhm.
He almost lost an eye, I think.
And that's a great comparison. I didn't even think about that, but when you bring that together, you're right. They had different issues, but the polarization was the same, and look
That's-
what happened. Like it was a horrible. We had the Civil War.
I mean, are we seeing bloody Kansas right now in Portland?
That's a good question.
Because I mean, we've had what, 2 shootouts in 2 consecutive weekends, partisan shootouts.
Well, I mean, it's tough.
It is. I hope not. I certainly hope not. No one wins in that, and we are in a different day and age. So hopefully, regardless, it would be a war fought on computers mostly. But
well, and that's where you guys
Keyboard
doing your
warriors.
shows gets the message out. People say, "Hey, you know what? I thought that guy was a jerk. He's actually seems pretty normal. I want to listen to him more, or I don't want to listen to him more." But I love that. So any medium to get people to know each other and listen, I support.
Well, I think we're going to try to put together some kind of debate format.
Awesome.
Something where we can just sit down, we turn it on, all the debaters sign on, and they just run with it, and we'll sit back and get just drunk. We'll get a different moderator.
Well, you got, if you're going to go that route, you got to at least ask one question to throw everyone off.
Oh,
We'll write them down on cards. So that someone else
I'll
can read them
jump
for
on
us.
and slur that bad boy right out.
Well, I'd watch it. And just to hear the candidates speak.
Yeah.
Because I'm a nerd and I love it. I just love listening because I love, as a prosecutor, I have to be in courtrooms, doing kind of the Hollywood moments. And so I love hearing that from other people. And it goes back to the passion portion. Like, man, if I hear somebody who's passionate, I could listen to them all day long, because that to me speaks to me. I'm like, wow, if you're passionate, I want to listen to what you're saying. And I might not agree, but I will always respect that, because I'm like, man, if you have that passion, props. And I might still say I don't agree with you, but man, I will listen. And so that's what I always hope to hear in debates or anything. Your show, when you get a guest on who's like, they really speak from their heart, and you're like, I like that.
Yeah, we get some fired up people once in a while. Early on, I think we had a couple of stumble into fired up people a few times. Right when BLM first kicked off, we had a couple groups on, but yeah,
Well,
it's been pretty good. Well, thank you for coming on. And again, tell your compatriots, look, I'm going to start emailing everyone. I'm just gathering names and emails and just trying to get them on schedule to come on, and just, even if they just want to come on and say, hey, I'm one of your guys, I've got nothing to talk about, still want to have them on. I want to drive. I agree with you. I think local is the only place that elections count anymore. And because that's the place that touches you.
Yeah.
And I want to drive people to get involved and start molding and forming their communities locally. And quite honestly, I won't watch a presidential debate again, because it doesn't matter what you vote for in there.
Well, that was a rough debate. Those were rough debates to watch.
I'll watch them for the comedy, but I wouldn't watch them. I'm not going to vote for a president ever, because it doesn't matter who you vote for. You got Dick Cheney's foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you got. Hey, we voted in Obama. We're going to go from 3 wars to 7. All right, we voted in Trump. Okay, well, he backed off a few wars, but we still stayed in the Yemen. I mean, why are we over there bombing the poorest country in the Middle East? We continue down that. So I'm done with that.
I'll vote for you, Jared.
Well, Jared, I've heard you say this, and I'd like to invite you. Make this the first year you vote in November.
Yeah,
you're going to be sitting feet away from the candidates.
Well, I hope I get them all on so I can gauge which one I like the most.
Oh, this is be a great year to participate.
Yeah, I've got to register first.
Well, hey, go for it.
Yeah,
Takes
the boy he gets his little thing in the mail, and he comes and says, well, who do I know here? I say, I don't know, that guy's cool, I don't know the rest, whatever.
By the time Jared figures out how he wants to register himself, it'll be all over.
Well, that's what's great about city council, nonpartisan.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
That I like that. And that's small town good.
Yeah,
because it's not a partisan argument. There's not a lot of money coming in at it. It's not.
Right.
It's all about displaying your character all the time.
And we need your votes. I mean, I'm the poster child. 3 votes, and I feel like I have to earn those votes every day.
Yeah,
because I got to justify what I do. and people.
If only they tell you who it was, you could have like a little tea party or something.
The one, and I'll end with this. When I ran for city council, I was a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've learned while being on city council, I'm still a nobody on city council, and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I like just being able to serve without, my name recognition is low, but I kind of like that because I can do what I need to do.
It gives you more maneuverability.
Well, I don't need to sell myself. I don't know. It just, I like that. I like that I don't have to, that if I run, I have to run. I don't have, I don't have anything else. And I want people to vote based off who I am and what I've done. And so I think that's a disadvantage, but it's also my advantage. And I like that. I like that challenge. So,
yeah, it's been a pleasure having you.
Hey, thanks guys.
Thank you, Tony.
Everyone, this thing here is called the Cock and Bull. And if you want to try a soda that will kick your butt,
Where'd you get this, Tony?
Macy's, actually.
it takes your breath away.
Yeah.
It is a spicy number.
Just drink one. I only recommend one
Well, I mean,
because your blood pressure won't be able to take it.
yeah, I'm keeping that bottle in here. I like it looks like a beer just because it has the Cock and Bull on it.
Yeah, it's very aggressive,
but it's good stuff. Everyone, let's figure out how we can support and when I mean support, not just whatever they say, but support them by being that conscious voice that they need to hear when they vote. So let's figure out how we can do that. We had Mayor Winn on.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now we've got one of our city council members on. Let's figure out how, find out even one that you can talk to and reach out to. And I think this is getting important. It really is. I think nationally we need to turn our backs on that. They've ruined us long enough. Let's get back to local where we can build ourselves up again.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys. It was a
Thank you.
lot of fun to be here, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, guys.